Yeah, it started recording. It wasn't recording before. Okay, the cunning plan today is to move on from calculations that we did on concentration yesterday and start introducing titrations. Now, the problem with titrations is they're the most complex calculation you can do in chemistry. But you start with the very, very basics. Okay, so I've already given you one easy question, but you'll see why. And I'm going to talk you through how to do it, but what I've missed out. All right. So, what you're going to do, titrations can involve different acids, different alkalis, but you are only going to look at one reaction only. You are going to look at the reaction of hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide. The reason being, it is the simplest and most common reaction you will look at. It is a 1, meaning one HCl reacts with one sodium hydroxide. It's a 1-to-1 reaction. These are the simplest of reactions to do, but I want to keep your mind off the chemistry part of balancing equations, looking at molar ratios and things like that. I'm going to get rid of that. I solely want to have a look at the volume calculations. Now, what I mean by looking solely at the volume calculations is, this is my shorthand. So I'm just going to remove rearranging and things like that. So I want to solely focus on the calculation, nothing else. Granted, you need everything else. However, we'll build that into it slowly. The formula you're going to need is N, which for me is really important. It is the number, oopsie daisy. Let's make that larger. N I use for number, and that's where the N comes from, number of moles, equals C for concentration times V for volume. Your volume must always be in dm cubed. It cannot be anything else. This is key. But as I said, I'm not doing any rearranging of equations. This is the only one you're really going to need to use. All right. Now, that's your first step. Now, the second step, you've got to calculate concentration. Concentration equals number of moles divided by volume. That's what we looked at last week. So we're going to, as much as this is it rearranged, you're not focusing on the rearranging. You're simply focusing on the calculation. All right. Now, the key to all of this is always make sure you're in dm cubed. We will give you volume in cm cubed. You must divide it by 1,000. Have to. Now that I've said all that, I'm going to show you step by step the really easy calculation. And you're only going to do one of these. All right. So, 25 cm cubed. Hate it. It's disgusting. It's driving me insane. First thing, this is my, ADHD. If I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I didn't at school, and my brain can hyper focus for a short amount of time. Something is not right. I don't like it. But actually, it's really funny. It was seen for many years. People go, "Oh, do you know that's really bad?" It's not. It makes me. I see my kind of slight. What people says. Oh, I'm normal. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. I'm glad I'm me. I'm glad I have my little. Call it little, but yeah, little idiosyncrasies. I cannot stand the fact it's CM cubed because I know it has to be DM cubed, and I just don't like the look of it. All right, so I've got 25 cm cubed of 0.1 mole DM cubed HCl. This is concentration. This is the unit for concentration. Find the conquer sodium hydroxide step by step. First question: how many moles do you have? You can only work in moles. All right. So for this question, and here it is: N equals C times V. Number of moles equals concentration times volume. I'm given my concentration HCl. So number of moles equals concentration, which is 0.1, times volume, which is 25, but I hate it. It's wrong. I've got to divide it by 1,000. All right. That gives me his number of moles as 0.0025. 0.0025. Do that with a calculator. Don't try to do it in your head like I've just done. This is the number of moles, right? Number of moles. This is the number of moles of HCl. I've got the number of moles. Now, it's a 1-to-1 reaction. I don't have to do anything fancy with it. all right? So it's a 1-to-1. So if I've got 0.025 moles of HCl, I have got exactly the same number of moles of sodium hydroxide. It is 1-to-1, meaning however many moles of HCl I've got, that's exactly the number of moles of sodium hydroxide I need. That gives me 0.025. I've done no calculation for this. Right, so that's the number of moles. So now I need to work out concentration. Right, so this is going to be concentration. The formula for concentration is concentration equals number of moles divided by volume. We've got the number of moles, 0.0025. But what's the volume of sodium hydroxide divided by volume? Well, the volume of sodium hydroxide is the same. But I hate it. It must be in dm cubed, so I'm going to divide it by 1,000. And actually, do you know what? I do that right at the start because I just don't like the look of it, 0.025. I'm going to put the volume underneath here. I'm going to substitute V for 0.025, 0.025. You pop that in your calculator, your concentration is 0.1 moles per dm cubed. That is it. That is the easy version. All right? Per dm cubed, I didn't put that backslash in. Your job is to do the rest of them. All right? The medium ones gets a bit tricky. Do not worry. Right? You should hopefully find this really straightforward. I say that really straightforward, but they're really not. You know. All right.